Lawwin Media Network.
Bringing to you the most relevant content across all platforms.
Business, legal, politics, health, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Your source for all the news and updates in the greater Houston community from Texas and all over the world.
Get informed and empowered with Lawwin Media Network.
Good evening, Houston. Good evening, Texas. This is Beyond Health and Wellness Conversations with Dr. Rich and Nurse MJ. MJ is not here with us today, but we will continue to move on with the topics that we've discussed. Also, good morning, Philippines. Beyond Health and Wellness is broadcast live 9 o'clock in the morning of Saturday in the Philippines and 8 o'clock in the evening of Friday Central Standard Time in Houston and all over the world. So we are going to have a continuation of our broadcast today. We welcome our guests, our visitors, and our viewers. For those of you who were able to catch up with our last broadcast, let us know how you feel, what your thoughts are, and if you have any kind of comment or text messages or any questions, make sure that you let us know, and we are going to broadcast that as well. Correction, it's 10 a.m. in the Philippines. 10 a.m. in the Philippines. It starts 10 a.m. in the Philippines on Saturday, and it's 8 p.m. Central Standard Time in the United States. We're broadcasting live from Wisconsin and also in Houston. So that's Texas, and 8 p.m. And all over the world. If you miss our broadcast, if you miss today's live broadcast, you can go to 15 different podcast platforms, including Apple, Google, and Spotify. And you can search for us there, Beyond Health and Wellness. We're also produced by Lawwin Media Network and Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. You can see probably in our screen as well that we are live in those platforms, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. For Facebook, I have a specific channel for you. It's called The Rich Mindset of a Levite. It's live right now, and it stays there in that channel, and that's my personal channel. It stays there in that channel for us to watch and rewatch. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are in our 11th episode for this first season for the first season of our Beyond Health and Wellness podcast. This is the 11th. So next week, that will be our 12th episode. That will be the second to the last episode that we will do. And then on the week after that will be our 13th episode. And that will be the last. And then we will take a 2-week break. And then we'll come back with our season 2 for these podcasts. We call this Beyond Health and Wellness, Empowering Conversations with Dr. Rich and Nurse MJ. Today, we are going to continue discussing about the topic that we talked about last time, empowering conversations regarding harnessing the power of the mind. We were talking about conscious and subconscious mind. There are two parts. Sometimes we think that the mind there are divided into two parts. It's not really divided into two parts. There is just that segment, but there is no one clear division or border between the conscious and the subconscious mind. It's just one. There's just one mind, and one mind for every single creature. It is not a mind of me, a mind of you, a mind of other people. It's just one mind, the one mind. There's one, and we all are entitled to have access to that mind. And so somebody said, there's a little boy that says, I'm drawing a face of the God And the older gentleman says, well, no one can draw God. No one has ever seen God before. And the little child responded, wait until I finish my drawing. Today, we are going to do it that way. We have never seen a mind. The mind is called a mind, but it's really movement. We've never seen a mind, how it looks like, or what's its shape is. But we can have some kind of imagination. And for this episode, we're going to talk about the mind as a form of a stick person. A stick person is an illustration of the mind. It is not the complete illustration, but it gives us a clue of what's going on. And we are going to share that in the screen about what this looks like. It looks like a big circular drawing that has a imaginary imaginary line in between, and that would look like that in the screen. So above that, you can see that that is a educated mind, and the educated mind is you. That is your identity. That is who you are and what you are right now, and that is the conscious mind. So think of it as the thinker, the educated mind, you or I, and then conscious. You are conscious, you're aware. That is the conscious mind. Okay, so now below that, as you can see in the circle, you have that the doer, the one that is doing. The one that is doing is called the, what do you call this thing? The, hang on, the innate mind. The innate mind is the power of the mind. That is where the power is, that distinguishes how we use that power. So it's innate, it's in the inside, and it's also called the subconscious mind. Now, this is not the entire picture of what it looks like. We're just trying to illustrate this. So from that mind, you have the conscious mind, and the unconscious mind or subconscious mind is more commonly called. Then the body. The body is the one that's expressing what's going on in the mind. So we're going to really, really bite into this because no one can get enough of this kind of thought. And we're going to talk about this. So you have your conscious mind. Your conscious mind is the one that's really generating all those kinds or entertaining those kinds of thought. And let's move on to that little slide. If you can see that there's like the antenna there are five senses, and they are the antenna. They are in the mind. Now let's make a difference between a mind and the brain. The brain is no different from your any other organ in your body, like your heart, your intestines, your kidney, your liver, your brain. It's an organ of the body, right? It's just an electronic switching station that triggers the activities of the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The mind is movement. It is not an organ. It is not an organ of the body. It is a movement. It consists of different kinds of vibrations and frequencies of energy. And the conscious mind, that part of the mind which is conscious, which is aware, gets its awareness by the stimulus or triggers that it got from the five senses. And the five senses are here. You have this the sense of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching. All those five senses will give us triggers and stimulus so that the conscious mind could think, are you going to accept it or not? Are you going to say something about it or not? What are you going to do with that information? It's the conscious mind that will decide what is going to do with that. Okay. Now, as soon as you have that information, which comes from the thought, let me see if I have a slide here that will here. That's what it is. So you have thoughts there that's flying right now. Some people are watching me. Some people are paying attention. Some people are wondering what their kids are doing, what they are cooking, where they're driving, where they're going. It goes in. There's just so many different thoughts flying around, and you capture that thought. You can see that in the screen. You can capture that thought. And once that thought is baptized or immersed with feelings, when you feel for it, it sinks down into the subconscious mind. Hopefully that really had some kind of a resonance in everybody's attention right now as we're talking about this, because we're going to just keep talking about this until it gets to our senses, because it's very important. We can't move until this one is absorbed, is really understood. Now let me repeat that. When your thoughts, any thought that one is, I want to have some money, I want to have some $100, or I will go to the church, I will go get some grocery, all those kinds of thoughts, once it has that immersion, or it is acted in feeling, it sinks down into the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind cannot reject. It only has the ability to accept it and put it to pass, or get it to pass, or manifest it. That's the goal. That's the role of the subconscious mind. But it doesn't just do anything until it gets in there. It cannot ask for thoughts. It cannot ask for ideas, or pick and choose what kind of ideas will come to it. Whatever you put into your subconscious mind, it accepts it and manifests it. So, but it doesn't go in there until it has feelings. Okay. So now that's why we are saying feeling is the secret. You want to feel it. You want to own a house. You want to feel. You want to know how it feels to have a house. When you have the feeling of a new house, then it goes in there, and every circumstances will parade and will put themselves together, arrange themselves together before you, so that you will have your house. It cannot be stopped, because it already sunk in the subconscious mind. Now, so your body is the manifestation of that. Your body goes there, your body goes here, every time. Even sicknesses and diseases, your body is the one that manifests your sickness and disease. But it starts in the mind. You were thinking about fever, your body manifests the fever. You're thinking about intestinal obstruction, your body manifests the intestinal. Whatever it is that you're thinking and then you felt for it, the body will show it. Okay? Sometimes we say, well, I wasn't really thinking about that. Why is that not showing? So is that something wrong? It's not that it's wrong, or it makes a mistake. It cannot make a mistake. It is a complete, concise, precise science. It's the science of the mind. What it is you're really thinking about it, because what is manifested is started with the thought. So it's very important to guard your thought. What it is that you are thinking, when you're thinking something that is good, make sure that you put your feelings into it, and when you do, your body will manifest it. The results will be there. Okay, that is very important for us to understand as far as this episode is concerned, because really what it is, when we started from the very beginning about dopamine, about serotonin, about adrenaline, about all those kinds of feel-good hormones, which, let me say this again, when you have the dopamine, it's very addictive, because it's a very good feel-good hormone. So when it feels good, you see this, you have the thought, and then it feels good, it sinks in. Now, when it sinks in, it manifests in your body. You feel good. You're in euphoria. You can do all kinds of things, and then you're very motivated. You're very inspired. You do this, and that's what we do with people at work, right? When you're at work, I'm working, and I have people with me, and I manage people, and I direct people. What we do as leaders is to make sure that you have that dopamine ready, so that your people will feel good. When they feel good, they work good, the results are good. Okay? When they feel bad, they don't work as good, the results are bad. It's always going to be like that. So it's a good thing, if you're a leader, to harness the power or the result of the dopamine. But what I'm going to caution you is that dopamine is addictive. Okay, and then we move into our talking about the sugar. So when we talk about sugar, we talk about dopamine, we talk about feel good, sweetness. Of course, dopamine is a lot of sugar, and then the sugar per se, and the sugar, the triggering area of the brain for sugar, which is the glucose, is the same triggering area for narcotics, such as your cocaine, heroin, morphine, and all kinds of methamphetamines. So it's the same kind, which means that it's the same addiction. Okay, so when you are addicted to sugar, it's the same kind of triggers. You'll be looking for them, and you've been looking for them for a long, long time. When you have some kind of uh, a longing for sugar, that is an addiction. It's even more potent than addiction to narcotics. We're going to talk about that after our short break. Again, this is Beyond Health and Wellness. I'm Dr. Rich. I'm your host today. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Season 4 of Be Bold. Why not? Get ready to make bold changes in your life with MJ Concepcion. Dive deeper into the discussions. Listen to the unstoppable voices of MJ and her guests, the legends and the rising stars. Join the celebration of talent, sports, passion, and the power of music. Tune in every Monday 7 p.m. Central, Tuesday, 8 a.m. Philippines. See you there.
In a world filled with fleeting moments, there's beauty waiting to be captured. My name is Christian, and I specialize in immortalizing your most precious memories. From elegant weddings to vibrant events and timeless portraits, I'm here to make every moment unforgettable. Let me tell your story through the lens. Contact me today and let's create.
All right, we're back. This is Beyond Health and Wellness, Conversations with Dr. Rich. I'm your host today, Dr. Rich. We are live via Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and this production is brought to us by Lawan Media Network. We're also live in my personal channel in YouTube, which is The Rich Mindset of a Levite. So we're going to continue today. If you have questions, please feel free to put them out so that we can address them and recognize them, or you reach out to us. If you missed this live podcast today, you can watch a replay in the platforms that I've already mentioned, especially on the podcast in Apple, Google, and Spotify, and 12 others. So we'll continue about this. So we have this electronic switching station in the brain that is triggered or stimulated by the five senses, which is hearing, smelling, seeing, tasting, and touching. Those are our basic sense. Now there are other senses, which is sometimes they said common sense. There's really no established thing about common sense, but it's a good thing to talk about. But there is what we call as the higher mental faculty, and the higher mental faculty includes our memory. One, that's memory. The other one is our will, and the other one is our reason. The other one is our um, will, reason, memory. The other one is our intuition. The other one is our, what do you call, intuition, memory, reason, and I think there are two more. I will let you know what are the other two more later, but we will focus on intuition at this time because we're talking about the five senses, which are our basic senses, and there are triggers there, information. What it is that the mind is a lot of information and movement that's moving around. What you capture, you get it, right? And so we get it from all of that. You watch TV, you hear somebody, you feel somebody, you smell cooking of the food. All of those are triggers, and then it goes into your conscious mind. But there are other things, like you recall somebody doing something to you, or you decided to do something, that is your will, or you argue with somebody and you stood up for yourself and you have the reason, you reason. And then the more you use this higher mental faculty, the easier they become. But one of the things that I was wanting to emphasize is the higher mental faculty called intuition, because your intuition is 99.9999% what do you call that, correct. So you can't make mistakes about that. Does it make mistake? Probably, but it's always so it's very reliable. That is if you can find it. That is if you know how to use it. That is if you know how to listen and follow it. Okay, so there are so many people that are very good at following their intuition. The research shows that women are better in using their intuition than men, because usually what happens is men will rationalize and justify what they did not do, while women just go ahead and do it. Now, it's not a lot of gap, but it's a good significant information to understand. There are some of us that use it better, and there are those that don't, but that's what the research show. Now let's look back at this slide here. So from the conscious mind to the subconscious mind, let's say you're going to what? Avoid your sugar. You're not going to eat sugar anymore. Now, sugar is everywhere. We're not going to eat sugar anymore. You won't tell that. Now, but you smell something really good, the smell of the cake, right? So what does that trigger? It makes your conscious mind feel good. So when it feels good, it triggers the motivation to have it. But you said you are not going to eat something that has sugar in it, so you remove it. So you use your will to really determine that you're not going, no matter how good it smells, you're not going to eat it. That's your conscious mind. But if you don't have that feeling, you don't have that determination and the persistence to not eat that food item that you know that has sugar in it, you're going to end up eating that sugar, right? But you persisted. And when you persisted, you persist only when you put feelings into it, with determination, with passion, that you are not going to eat that sugar. And it goes into your subconscious mind. And in your subconscious mind, it gives up a result. You're not going to desire it. You don't want it. And it results in your body, because you're not eating sugar, you reduce your body. You reduce your weight. It's easy. It's almost like instant. It's an instant change, if that was going to be what your decision is. However, I'll take note of this, because it's very important for us to understand. If your subconscious mind is already programmed for sugar, and that happens from day one when you were born up to, let's say, you are 26 years old, so that's 26 years of programming of the subconscious mind that sugar is good for you. No matter if your conscious mind says, I smell nice smelling cake, I'm not going to eat it, your subconscious mind will have you eat it. Your body will eat it. Why? Because your subconscious mind has the paradigm already. It's very difficult to change that paradigm. And in fact, you can't change it. It still stays there no matter what. That is why it's very important for a child development to have trained them from year 1 to 7, because that's a blank slate. At this point, for our viewers, you probably are not a baby anymore. You have some level of adulthood in you, and therefore you have that subconscious mind already built in, that paradigm that sugar is good, that you're craving for sugar, and that sugar will manifest, the effect of that sugar will manifest in your body. And you say, I was not going to eat sugar. I was successful one day. The following day you ate the cake, or maybe not the cake, but there's another one, and there's another one, until you cannot stop it. You can't prevent it, because your subconscious mind is very strong. And what the results from your subconscious mind is, your body can only manifest. And you ask, why did I have diabetes? Why did I have this? Why did I have that? And I know that, but why did I have this? It's because your subconscious mind is the one that makes that happen. Okay, so it's very important for us to understand the power of the subconscious mind, or the mind for that matter. When we were young, I'm going to show you when we were young what happened to us. This is when we were young, right here. Okay, when you were like an infant, let's say. Now, today, you think, and you said, I don't believe in that, right? Or you said, yeah, I believe in that. I accept that. You think, right? And then whatever it is that you think that you accept, it goes into the subconscious mind. Okay. When you were an infant, whatever you hear, you are a blank slate. It forms the paradigm of that person when that person grows up. Other people telling you, TV, newspapers, the sounds, whatever it is, it goes in, right in. There's no blockage. The infant is not thinking. We just go in, go in, go in, go in, blank slate until that slate is full. And then we say we've learned everything we need to learn from kindergarten. It is because the paradigm is shaped there. And when that is full, and you grow up and you said, where did you come from this? Where did you get this from? I never taught him this. Well, it was taught to him by the environment he was in. And it's showing because that needs to show because that's what's in there, right? So we'll understand that, for example, you plant a seed, the acorn. The acorn has the genetic makeup of the architecture of the oak tree. You can't see an oak tree and the acorn. It's just a seed. And the moment you put that in the soil and it dies and it grows, eventually there is a tree there. Where did the tree come from? The tree comes from the seed. It's always been there. It's just not showing until there are stimulus that triggers it to show up. And it's the same thing with our paradigm or the subconscious mind. Sometimes, I didn't see that happening. But once you keep putting something into your subconscious mind, the things that you think will benefit from you, at some point in time, it will show up because it will. It can't do anything else. That's what happens with our subconscious mind. For today, we need to be able to guard what we are thinking, what we are eating, what we are doing, and what we are saying in order for us to have the expectation or the expectation of what we want come true. Not we expect this, but it's not what's happening. Why? Because the subconscious mind is that powerful. It delivers only what is already there. It doesn't have the ability to reject or make choices or decides. It just manifests it. Okay, so that's very clear, right? It's very clear. Now let's move on to the other part of this discussion today. We are going to have a little bit of a break again, but before we do that, we're going to talk about this again right here. Right. Okay, so now we're talking about what we want to choose in order to stay healthy. There's so many kinds of different things that we could be that could influence our health condition. And we were talking about sugar. There are other things like toxins in the body, in the oil that could change. All those kinds of, it's very difficult for us to stay perfectly healthy with the kind of food that we eat, especially if they are processed food and they are food that has already a lot of additives and chemicals in it. Now, all these things are energy, and the thoughts we have is energy. The mind is movement, and what we want to accomplish in our lives is actually a vibration. You don't wish or want or desire something and you think that that's what I want, that's what I get. No, you don't get what you want. You get what you are. Okay? Because goals is not for getting. You don't get the goal. You grow into the goal. The goal, let's say a house, is already there. Everything is already there for us. All we need is to be the person in that vibration to deserve that. That is the law of attraction, right? It's already there. We're just not seeing it because we are not aligned in the same frequency where it is. And so the goal is not to get it, to have it, but the goal is to align with it so that it can get there, right? So the goal is for growing. It's not for getting. You grow into the person that is aligned with a particular goal you want to achieve. You want $1 million. The $1 million is already there. It's not in your wallet. It's not in your bank account. So you want to grow into that person that deserves that $1 million. For example, that will be a job or that will be a business. You want to grow into that so that you will be deserving. For example, you want to be an educator, you want to grow into the educator. And then when you go into the educator, then you are the educator, right? The educator role is already there. It's always been there. If you grow into a lawyer, the lawyer is already there. You're just not there yet. But when you grow into that role, then you become it. Because the goal is not for getting, it's for growing. Okay, please remember that. So everything is energy and the mind is movement. It's just like the money is a state of mind, it's a mindset. It's not the piece of paper, it's not your bank account, it's the mindset. If you take a look at people who have a lot of money and take that money out from them, right? Let's say Bill Gates, or use Bill Gates as an example. We'll take all of Bill Gates' money, all of that, give it to the poor, give it 1 million each, whatever, and then they get all that money in so short a time. Those people that have been given that money will lose that money. It will go back to the one who deserves it. He will have it back because his mindset is in that mindset. So it's not the money, it's the mind. Okay. And some of the, like, let's say the poor people don't have that mindset. Therefore, if you give them that money, it will be gone because the mindset is there. You have to grow into that mindset to retain that blessing, to retain that material possession. Because if you don't, then it will be gone because it's a movement. It moves. Okay, especially money is meant for circulation. It's not meant to be kept. It's meant for circulation, so it keeps moving. It transfers from one hand to another. So the one who it deserves that next will have it. Notice that one, right? You go to grocery store, you have a money, right? And you go into the grocery store. Where does that money goes to? Next hand. Transfer it to the next hand, right? And that next hand that receives that money, it will transfer to the next hand also. The money is used for circulation, but what you get out of that money is yours, right? So it's a mindset. It's the same thing with our health condition. Whatever it is, you get that one. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Tune into Legal Treats with attorney Eileen Ligote Dizon
every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time.
Get your weekly dose of legal knowledge, especially on family matters like divorce, child custody, child support, estate planning, probate and immigration.
Engage in discussions by posting your questions, comments, greetings or shoutouts.
See you every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Time. That would be Saturday at 9 AM Philippines. Don't miss out.
All right, we're back. This is Beyond Health and Wellness, Conversations with Dr. Rich and Nurse MJ. MJ is not here with me today, but we will take off and we will definitely continue as soon as MJ returns back with us. And this live broadcast is provided to us through the Lawin Media Network, and we are live at Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. And also, if you missed today's broadcast, you can find our podcast replays in the podcast platforms such as Apple Podcast, Google, and Spotify, and 12 others. So we are also live in my personal channel in YouTube. The YouTube channel's name is The Rich Mindset of a Levite. Now let's move on to this discussion today, because we're saying that thought is energy. It's all energy. And your thought is become an idea once you grab it, and it becomes idea. When you put emotion to that idea, the desire, these athletes, right? You have track and field, and they move and they run as fast as they can. They're already very fast. They train hard and long to get to that point, and then they run. Only one will get the gold. Okay, but all of them wants it so bad. But it's the amount of desire that winner puts in to get that gold. Okay, so every one of us, let's say, wants money, but the one who wants it the most will get it. So you can see it's all about the strength or the intensity of the emotion you put to it. Let's say you want a job. Let's say you want a job of a director, and the other person also want a job of a director. Now, who wants it the most? Who has put most emotion into it, feeling into it, gets the job. And the other person may also get the job in another way, but really it's the emotion that will bring you to where you want to be. So emotion will alter the vibration when you feel so deeply about such idea, that that feeling will alter that vibration. Let's just say, let's talk about gold, for example. Gold, you melt that gold and then you put that into metal. Let's talk about water. Water is a combination of two atoms of um, hydrogen and one atom of oxygen. They always go together, and when you remove one of those, it will be just one atom of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen, or half an atom of an oxygen, which cannot be. That is why there is instability, unstable, and then it keeps moving some more. And then if you put a little bit of another chemical to it and it binds to another one, the where it is more attractive, it goes in there. It's not water anymore. Now, if it's still water, you change that and put some heat on it, it becomes vapor. You just change the makeup of the certain compound, and it changes its structure, it changes its state. It's the same thing with our ideas. If you put emotion in your ideas, it changes the vibration and it goes to where it needs to be. So your vibration there, you feel so good, so deeply about, let's say, well, you had this feeling, you had to go to Dallas, and you went to Dallas, that is where the opportunity was, but you were brought there, right? You were brought there with that vibration. There were circumstances, a friend called you, or some things that will bring you there, to only to find out that's where your opportunity is. So that's how the vibration works for us. The conditions, the circumstances, and the environment will change so that the results will be handed to you. And that is what it is. And we're talking about health here, and we're talking about all kinds of sicknesses and diseases. And I want to just side trip here for a little bit, because we have this thing about, we're talking about energy, and we're talking about radicals, and there's what we call as free radicals. And in free radicals, that is the one that will cause sickness and diseases, because it's open, right? That means that your body has free radicals, and it's open for any invaders. When it's invaded, it attaches to those free radicals, and then you have the sickness, and then you have the disease. So you want to really remove those free radicals. No meaning that you're not welcoming any attacks or any viruses or invaders in your body. So there's that, we call that antioxidants, right? It goes in there. But when it's changed, there is that free radical, and when there's free radicals come in form of toxins or malfunctioning of your genes and conditions of your cells. And so then when it comes in there, your cells are weakened. Well, it's weakened because you took so much monosodium glutamate, or some kind of a seasoning, or some this and some of that, and they're toxic, coming from the oil and coming from all of that. And then we have all those combinations of different causes, and your cells are open. And when your cells are open, then it is vulnerable to sickness and attacks of viruses and bacteria. For example, your tongue. Your tongue has taste buds, right? Okay, so what will happen now is when we eat our food, we want to put some sauce in it, ketchup in it, mayonnaise in it, pepper, salt, all kinds of seasonings, because your taste buds have been broken. It's been wide open, and it couldn't taste anymore. And you need to enhance the taste in order to have that feeling of taste. So it changes it. And when it's changing it, and it's not changing for the good, that's when the bad comes in, because there's only two different things: good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. And that's where the results are. So it's important for us to understand the conditions, the circumstances, and the environments are dictated by the amount intensity of the vibration, which is caused by the intensity of your emotions you put into the idea. If you don't feel strongly about avoiding sugar, you're not going to avoid sugar. If you don't feel strongly about lowering your high blood, blood cholesterol, you're not going to do anything about that. It has to be a certain amount so that you will make and do a determined action to get to the result you want. If you don't feel strongly about graduating college, you don't go to college. You probably will finish, but they are all circumstantial. You're still not going to use it because you don't feel for it, you don't care for it. So that's what it is. That is the results, and your results will have your action causes that reaction, and that's what alters the results. So I hope that is very clear for us as far as what we're talking about here is concerned, because it is very important that we understand all of those things in order for us to move on. We've been talking about Genevieve Behrens, your invisible power, and that is the mind. We've also been talking about, well, you have the mind, but what are you thinking in your mind? And what are you thinking? That's what you are. That's James Allen talking about as as you think. You are what you think. Right? Whatever it is that you're thinking that you are, that is what you are. If you're thinking you're good, you are good. If you're thinking you are not good, then you are not good. If you're thinking you are good, you're not good, and good again, and some better, then your mind is confused and doesn't know what to manifest of you. So, in other words, the manifestation of you is you don't know. I don't know this guy. I don't know what he is. Sometimes it's like this, sometimes it's like that. And sometimes because of that, we get some kind of a psychoanalysis or psychiatric advices because we don't know what's going on. It is very important to be mindful and be self-aware. We are aware of what we're doing, and we are also aware of what we're doing. We're expecting what the results will be, and if we don't get the results that we're expecting, it's not out there, but it's inside of us. And that brings us to Marcus Aurelius, who was talking about meditation, the ability to rest, the ability to pause and be mindful so that we can reflect. And Socrates says the unexamined life isn't worth living. So we go back to all of that, and we're talking about diseases and conditions and money and manifestations and vision boards and all kinds of affirmations, and they are all good, but they are not going to last and be sustained until we feel for it, that there is an emotional attachment to such action. When we have that feeling, then there is no more retreat. There's no more way to go back. You will definitely get the results you want. All right. Very important to understand. Okay. Now, if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us. And in so doing, we can address your question. We have one question here. Is the intuition part of our subconscious mind? Not necessarily, no. The intuition is part of our conscious mind. It is a guide to be able to get us to where we need to be or what we need to do. It is much of a guide. It is in the conscious realm. The subconscious realm, there's nothing pretty much we can do there. What sinks in there gets manifested. Okay, your intuition is like your unction. It's like your guide. It's like the still small voice that tells you what to do, where to go, how to do it. And then what about psychopaths? Did they feel like wanting to kill someone? Now that's another thing. For psychopathy, we are going to talk about well, there is some kind of a correlation there. But however, those are emotional distresses, and those are psychological disturbances that requires medical attention. Okay, so that's what it is. And if there are other questions in related to that, feel free to ask us, and we can find answers for you. All right, we'll wait for you. Again, we're live here in Lowen Media Network. This is a production of Lowen Media Network, and we are live in YouTube, we are live in Twitch, and we are live in Facebook. If you missed today's discussion, you can definitely go to the podcast in Apple, Google, and Spotify and see us there. We're also live in my personal channel, The Rich Mindset of a Levite, in YouTube, and the discussion will stay there for people to browse upon if they want to. Okay, let's move on. This is almost a conclusion for us when we talk about all these kinds of things, especially when it is something that involves our health and our goals in life and our aspirations. We'll conclude this discussion after we come back after the break.
Attention, food lovers. Get ready for a brand new culinary adventure with the Commissary Kitchen.
Join us every Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Time or 9 a.m. in the Philippines for a live show that brings the best of the kitchen straight to your screen.
Presented by Lawn Live Stream and Podcast and produced by Lawn Media Network, we'll explore delicious recipes, share expert cooking tips, and bring you closer to the world of gourmet cuisine. The Commissary Kitchen, where every meal is an experience.
All right, we're back. We're live in Lowen Media Network. This is Beyond Health and Wellness Conversations with Dr. Rich. I'm your host today, Dr. Rich. We are going to continue talking about this thing about conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And we are going to wrap this session out today through this. So here's the thing. The conscious mind and the subconscious mind are not two separate entities. They are just one. There's no clear-cut boundaries between where the conscious mind begins and ends and where the subconscious mind begins and ends. It is the feeling that determines if it's sank into the subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind doesn't have the ability to reject or choose. It only has the ability to accept and manifest. That is the role of the subconscious mind. Your conscious mind has the ability to block or accept or decide which ones you're going to let into the subconscious mind. So every single day we are bombarded with thoughts, different kinds of ideas, all kinds of things from our stimulus, and our conscious mind will pick up from that or make its own or pick up from those ideas, and then either he will reject it, let it go, or he will put emotions in it and let it sink. Okay, so it is important that when we grow up, when we have the ability to think already, the ability to choose and decide which ones we are going to welcome into the subconscious mind, it is very important that we are aware that we welcome only the good, because whatever it is that we welcome, whether good or bad, it will come out. It will manifest, it will come to pass, it will be realized. Sometimes some of the things that we realize in your life, you don't want them, but they are realized because they are being welcomed into the subconscious mind. So consciousness or mindfulness is the first thing that we want to talk about. We are going to talk about some approaches for our practical applications of the understanding between conscious mind and subconscious mind. Otherwise, we call it to harness the power of the mind. The first one is, of course, your visualization or affirmation. And we talk about that. When we visualize, really be very clear. Feel, if you are visualizing a house, feel the windows, the doors, the sofa, where's the kitchen, all of that. You visualize like it's real, like in a movie. You want to have all those kinds of clarity in your visualization, and don't do that just one time. Do it over and over and over again. The goal is to let it sink in that feeling. Okay. The other one, of course, related to that is your affirmation. And when your affirmation, you're just not talking or telling or saying some things. That's a mantra. That's chanting. When you affirm, you have the feeling of the belief of what you are saying to yourself. Okay, it's not for others, it's for you. Okay, so you might want to go to your room or go somewhere private and you talk to yourself, or you talk it out so that you can hear it, and you can hear it clearly, audibly, and you put some form of desire into it. So that's what we do. That's the first one. You visualize and you make affirmations. The other one is very easy, and we talk about this a lot, and that is gratitude practice, the practice of gratitude. My suggestion is list three things in the morning and list three things in the evening before you go to bed. Three things of which you are thankful for. Is that easy enough? I list 10 things because I'm older now, but you can list three things. You can start from that and improve as you go. But list three things. Don't list 100 things and then the next time you can't list anything anymore. List three things, list three things, three things, three things until you can have the confidence of writing some more or adding to your list. Okay. But the goal is not to list and forget. You're going to list and be very intentional about it, that you are thankful for it. There's so many things that you are thankful for. And the reason for us to program our subconscious mind, and our subconscious mind has been programmed differently, and that's why we alter the results. And in order for us to alter the result, we want to have a focus. And but we're focused on something that's bad, that's the bad that happens to us when we're a child, or the thing that people did to us that hurt us, all those kinds of things. Forget about them. Think about the things you are grateful for, that you are happy about, that you want to thank about. The money you receive in the morning, the paycheck, the food, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, the new clothes you just bought, the safe driving, all those kinds of things. You put that in your gratitude and be very mindful of that. Okay. And speaking of mindful, we talk about the third thing, which is mindful choices. We want to be mindful in our choices. And what that means is you want to pay attention to the decision daily basis. Okay. Be mindful of your choices. Sometimes we can call it be mindfulness. Be mindful of what you eat. Sometimes we just eat, because we're in a hurry, swallow it, done. Be mindful to your food. Be mindful of its taste. We have how many taste buds there, and there's how many different kinds of taste determinators there in your tongue. They determine is that bitter, sweet, salty, sour. You feel for that. When you feel for that, it goes in there very nicely. Sometimes my mentor would say, they said they eat chocolate and then they get fat. I can eat chocolate and it just goes right down. It's because of the mindfulness, right? So be mindful of your choices. Pay attention to the decisions you make, whether it's choosing your healthier foods or avoiding sugary snacks or limiting the use of cooking oils, or whatever it is that you decide to form a habit. Be conscious of it. Be mindful to it. Okay. And then the other one is meditation. This is what we talk about with Marcus Aurelius, the one who begins this all, who started it all down in 73 or 3 BC. Meditation, it trains our mind to observe thoughts without judgment. You just look at yourself. This separates us from animals because we have the ability to separate ourselves from what we're doing or where we are, and separate, and we can see ourselves. You can see you. That is a meditation. You look at yourself. What are you doing? What you look like? What have you been thinking? You can determine that, but it goes with practice. It's not like you do it today and then tomorrow you're good, you're perfect. It's a lifelong, continuous understanding of the process. And as you go along, you'll identify the level of growth or amount of progress you have already. So that's important to have meditations. And if you could remember, in our previous episodes, we practiced some of this tiny little meditation techniques. You just think. And if your mind wanders around, which you expect that to wander because that's where it is, it's a movement. So you just bring it back, bring it back. The idea is not to focus on one thing. The idea in meditation is to bring back the mind once it wanders. Bring back the mind. I have students because I'm still teaching right now, but I have students and they tell me, and then they say, I cannot focus. And so I sit down with them and I tell them how to focus. It's very easy to focus, but you can't do that immediately. You'll have to practice it. So I show them a paper and I write a big black dot in the middle and I let them look at it. Look at the dot only. If you can look at that and focus on that dot only for like 3 seconds, you should be good. And not one of them will be able to do that. Now, a little bit later, they're able to do that. They focus on 3 seconds. And then 3 seconds is not a lot, right? And then 4 seconds, and then 5 seconds. If you are able to focus on 5 minutes, you should be very good. But what if you're able to focus for 10 minutes or 15 minutes? It's called deep work, right? At work, we have deep work, 15 minutes to 20 minutes of deep work. That's a lot. What we need to do is for the about 80% of our results at work is done by the 20% of our effort when it is deep work. So you want to have that practice in meditation. That really what it is. You focus, you focus, you focus. Okay. And the last one we were talking about here, as far as practical strategies in harnessing the power of the mind, is to surround yourself with positivity. There is no way. Sometimes you risk, and there are people who are negative around you. It's okay because I'm positive. I can influence them. And you can do that, but you can see the result also. My advice is to just go ahead and surround yourself with people, energy, and atmosphere that is positive. And then you ask, what about if it is negative? So when it is negative, you go away. Okay? You don't inflect it with, well, let's be positive here. It's probably going to be negative. So you want to just go away. Okay? You find positive because like attracts like. You find positive. In the negative, there's nothing that will attract you there. It's the opposite. So you want to go find the positive because that's what you. So you will surround yourself in that, and your subconscious will realize that when you surround yourself with people, content, and experience that support your goals, then your goals will manifest because it's supported by environment. It's just like planting a seed. When you plant a seed, it goes into the soil, and if the soil has a lot of chemicals in it that is harmful for the seed will not thrive. So if the soil is good, nice cultivated, there is water, and then it's also have sunshine on it, and then there's some fertilizer in it, it thrives, right? The seed will thrive and grow. It's the same thing with us. When there are positive energy, positive environment, encouraging, empowering environment that we surround ourselves with, we also will thrive. That's why Genevieve Behrens says that you are always dealing with the laws of creation. These laws cannot fail. If you surround yourself with those positive things, you will definitely going to move as well. All right. We are reaching that part when we have to say goodbye in our podcast, and I hope you're having a good time listening to us and having some inputs and reflections with what you have. But this has been a great journey for us today for our podcast, Beyond Health and Wellness, Conversations with Dr. Rich and Nurse MJ. Next week, we will have our 12th episode or 12th episode for next week. No, we have our 13th episode for next week, and that will be our last episode until we take a 2-week break, and then we'll be right back. But it has been good, the journey with all of us learning together. Have a great day, everyone, and thanks for being here with us.